We're at Enskede gård. This is a fairly dull station. I do have a story to tell about it though. There's not a lot going on here. When I was at Globen, I was talking about how Globen and Enskede gård are going to disappear and be replaced with an underground station. That's going to happen over the next several years because the blue line is going to take over this entire branch down to Enskede. So that's a little bit of a story in itself. But I actually had an experience near here that I'm going to talk about. Years ago, when I was new as a train operator on the tunnelbana, there was a Saturday when there was an extreme amount of snow, quite deep snow, a few feet, I think it was, a couple of feet anyway, and I was operating a train of older stock, as it happens. That type of stock's all been retired now. And I left this station going south as we're walking now toward the next station, which is Sokkenplan. And between the Enskede gård and Sokkenplan, my train got stuck. I could not apply power. The train would not take power. And it turned out that the reason for that was that the third rail was iced over, and my train, the third rail shoes on my train had no contact with the third rail at all. So I was completely stuck, and I was stuck there for about 2 hours. I had to wait half an hour for supervision to arrive, and then it took them about an hour and a half to actually get the train moving, and we continued on to Sokkenplan, where we discharged the train. So anyway, there's a lot more to the story of that Saturday, but anyway, yeah, that'll do for now. So there's not a whole lot else to say about this station, really. We can go to the other end. It only has the one entrance, which is at the far end, so we can go and kind of check that out and see what's around the station. I think it's pretty much just apartments, and that's all. Pretty typical for Stockholm and for this branch. This is a relatively quiet branch of the tunnelbana, other than Globen, which we've already seen. Other than that, there's not a whole lot going on here. So now this is interesting. I don't think I knew about this. That's very interesting. Another similar figure right in front of us there. So this is interesting. The station's turning out to be a little bit more interesting than I thought it was. I don't believe I have ever entered or exited this station before. So this is all new for me. Yeah, at least on this side is apartments. That's pretty much all it is. There's this little kiosk. And that's about it. Yep, this side too seems to be just residential, and that's all. So yeah, but as I say, this is new for me. I'd never gotten off at this station before and looked. So yeah. Very typically Swedish suburban. I'd say probably a lot of these buildings, I'd guess, are from the 1950s. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked that up, but that would be my guess. So I'm curious to see whether this elevator was retrofitted. I would assume so, because this station is from the 1950s, and pretty sure it did not have an elevator when it opened. So let's see if we can see how they retrofitted it into the station.
Ja,
Yeah, they just took this whole area here and stuck in an elevator, it looks like. I didn't realize at first the two young women who are sitting there in the ticket hall at the top of the stairs are Mormon missionaries. I didn't realize the Mormons had started sending out young women. Anyway, I think we're done with the info for the gourds. We will proceed to a silken plowing.